Good evening and welcome to this edition of Immigration Issues. I'm Ina Winston and it's my pleasure to work at the Chicago Legal Clinic. As you see, our sign is up in the back. As regular viewers of the show know, the clinic was established in 1982 by Ed Grossman and then Father Paprocki, who was his classmate at DePaul College of Law. The two of them saw the need for high-quality legal services that were affordable, especially in light of the fact that the steel mills had closed down. So they established the clinic, which was a small organization at that time, headquartered in South Chicago. And that became, the South Chicago office became our flagship office. The organization then grew in a somewhat topsy-turvy manner, so that we had offices in Pilsen, offices in Austin, offices downtown, and offices at the court building, as well as in our South Chicago flagship office. Today, we've embarked upon a new stage in our development. We have a new executive director, Ed retired, and Adam Salzman is our executive director. And we have consolidated our operations into the downtown office, which right now is at 211 West Wacker, Suite 750. And we are going to be opening in the spring an office in an underserved inner Cook County suburb, probably Cicero. So there are exciting times on the horizon for the clinic. And the clinic's mission is to provide high-quality legal services regardless of socioeconomic status. We seek to reduce the barriers to compassionate, effective legal services that people often find. So we charge on a sliding scale, and in addition, I'm happy to say that we're the beneficiary of some really nice grants that have come in recently. One of them is from Niles Township, which is where I live, and we have a grant to serve clients who are in the Niles Township zip codes. In addition, we're the happy beneficiaries of a very nice grant from Access to Justice, which is run through the Resurrection Project, and it is state of Illinois money. And the purpose of this grant is to provide services to people who are here in the United States and need help to handle their immigration challenges. My job is that I am the managing immigration attorney. In addition, we have a special grant from the state of Illinois to handle victims of domestic violence, both in terms of their family matters and in terms of their immigration matters. So that means that we do file U visas for people who are the victims of certain qualifying crimes and who, usually domestic violence, but not always, and who have been helpful to law enforcement in bringing the wrongdoer to justice. In addition, we handle many VAWA cases for women, not always women, but often women, who are the victims of domestic violence. The clinic itself handles a wide range of cases, family-based, Social Security. We also have an environmental law justice program, and of course, the program that I'm most familiar with, which is immigration. We have today a wonderful new guest here with Carolina Panagua, who is from Taller de Jose. I'm going to be introducing her in a moment, and I just want to tell you briefly about the kinds of immigration projects that we do handle. Our practice is primarily family-based. So we do not do employment visas because employers can pay the fees to the private bar. We handle the filing of I-130s, we handle consular processing, we handle adjustments, we handle waivers, 751s, deportation defense, green card renewals, DACAs, and as I said, VAWAs and U visa cases as well. So we are here to serve you, and if you have a problem, in many cases we are able to handle an immigration matter and waive the attorney fees because of these generous grants that we have received. So that brings you up to date on what's happening with the clinic. Let me turn to my guest who will explain what Taller de Jose does. I'm thrilled to have Taller de Jose's representative here because many times we have immigration cases where people are adjusting or before USCIS, and the person needs a translator, and they cannot have a family member, and they really don't know anybody else who could take time off from work or who speaks English well enough to be an accurate translator for an immigration interview. So I often recommend that they go to see Taller de Jose, and every time we've had people they come when they say they're going to come, and they do a great job. It's a wonderful organization. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and what Taller de Jose does, and how it got its name as well.
Okay, thank you, Heina. So I'm Carolina Panagua, and I am the development coordinator at Taller de Jose, which in English is Joseph's Workshop. We were founded in 2008 by Sister Kathy Brazda, Sister Carol Krepow, and Father Bob Casey. And they saw that there was a need in Little Village for access to services, whether it was social services, legal services, health services, that sort of thing. And they felt this call to help these people and help them access these services. And so accompaniment is what came out of that call. And so our direct staff offer two different types of help to our clients. The first is basic case management. So clients can come in, whether it's for translation of documents, they need to gather different documents from different courthouses to e-file or that sort of thing. And we can help them if the process takes a while.
What kind of cases are subject to e-filing that people come to you about?
A lot of times it could be either child support or adult guardianship sort of thing, but it does vary. There could be a wide variety of cases that may require them to e-file, but that is a relatively new process that's been introduced. So
it can be kind of confusing, even for an attorney, much less for somebody else. Yeah.
Our staff have been very diligent on learning how to use e-filing, and they're actually very excited to come back to the office and teach their other staff members, so that way when they go, they're not struggling as much to get
the first time I did it.
But yes, and the second part of our direct service is that we physically accompany people to the places that they need to go. So when they have to go e-file and this person, our client, may not know exactly what they're doing, or maybe they don't speak English and they won't be able to understand all the directions on the e-file machine, that's where our staff comes in, and they will physically accompany them all the way to the Daily Center, and they'll be there to help them figure out what needs to be put into the machine, what needs to be made copies of, where they need to go, and that sort of thing. And that's very much the unique aspect of our program, because not that many organizations offer.
Not at all.
It
requires a lot of patience.
Yeah, a lot of. We pride ourselves on the fact that we offer this aspect of our program because we see it as very necessary, because a lot of times, like you said, clients may not have family members to take them places. They may not be able to take time off of work. Maybe they only have their children, and their children have to go to school. They're not going to take a day off to go with them to court. And so that's where we come in, and making sure that we can get our clients connected to the resources and the services that they need, and make sure that we can limit the number of barriers that may be facing them towards their solutions. And so we are based in Little Village, and our clients are primarily Hispanic and Spanish speaking, although we are welcome to all, regardless of race, faith, background, that sort of thing. Our services are free of charge, and so that's another thing that is very important to us, is that we want to make sure that communities that may be facing financial problems and that sort of thing, that they can still access our services and our help and aid, and making sure that they can get those resources that they desperately may need, and making sure that we can connect them, and that they don't have to worry about extra fees coming out of their pocket if they're already worrying about paying at the court and that sort of thing.
Where are you located, and what's your telephone number?
Our telephone number is 773-523-8320, and our address is 2831 West 24th Boulevard.
Do people need appointments? Can they walk in? What is your practice?
We prefer appointments just because we like to make sure that we give all of our clients an equal amount of time to discuss just exactly what they need and what the next steps may be, whether it's booking another appointment to accompany them to a different place or making sure that we can get translations done in time and that sort of thing. But we do accept walk-ins if it's an urgent need or if they've been referred and they feel the need to come see us right away. But we will do our best to accommodate everyone that comes in through our doors.
So you want to walk me through a case? Suppose for instance, I'm a VAWA applicant. And what do you do start from the beginning as to what the person should do and what services you would offer this particular client?
Well, in that case, we used to partner with Catholic Charities and Mujeres Latinas en Acción through a referral process where they would have someone with a case and they would send them to us to help them in the process of gathering different documentation that they may need to prove what their need is for VAWA.
Right, and it's not that easy because you actually have to go down to Harrison Street to go get the order of protection in the first place, and then you have to get the certified copies of it. So this is a tremendously valuable service for people. I mean, especially when you consider the person doing it is a person who's beleaguered and very stressed out in the first place, or she wouldn't be in 555 Harrison.
And also, we take into account the fact that many times a situation like that could be very emotional. And so it could be just very tough for someone to walk into 555 Harrison to get that order of protection because maybe they're terrified that something worse could come out of just doing that simple action. And so...
Do you accompany the person to 555 Harrison? That's a tremendous service because it's really hard to look an abuser in the eye and say, It's one thing to get an ex parte order. It's another thing to look the abuser in the eye and say, he did this to me.
And that's why we emphasize that part of our work because we don't want our clients to feel alone on their journey and we want them to know that we are with them alongside this very emotional, somewhat strenuous journey, and we also want them to know that we're there to empower them so that they know that they can make these decisions on their own regardless of who's by their side, that they are the ones in control of where their journey or their decisions lead to.
Which is really important, especially for somebody who's been abused, to regain some control over their own life.
Exactly. And that's what is, I think, the best part of this work is the fact that we are that sort of empowering physical presence, but also sort of just emphasizing that emotionally we are there for them if they ever need to talk, if they ever need to just sort of let out what's happening to them, but also physically there to help them get access to the resources that they need, like going to 555 or getting the documents that they need and helping them sort of put together everything that they need for their application, which they then can submit.
Do you want to explain for our viewers what 555 is about, what it means?
I actually don't know.
It's Harrison. It's 555 Harrison. It's where people go to get orders of protection.
Yes, that's the police headquarters?
No, it's a court.
Not.
It's a court.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't aware because everyone just says 555, so I was like, oh yeah, that's where they go, but like, which one is it? But yeah.
And then what do you do? So then the person's gotten the order of protection, and then what is your role then?
Well, that would be the role of the compañeras, or in English, companions, who would then make sure that they get all the necessary pieces together for, I believe it's the court.
Usually, maybe a criminal, maybe a domestic violence criminal complaint, yeah.
And so it always depends really after the order of protection which direction it goes. And so that's when they would work together to sort of see what the client would want to do afterwards with that sort of thing. But usually going through the application process and making sure that everything is in order and that they can be assured that they have everything in place too.
This is a tremendous service, and I must say that working on behalf of VAWAs has been some of the most rewarding cases I have ever handled because usually it's a woman, when that person gets her green card, she started a whole new life. She's turned a chapter, and it's the beginning of good things in the person's life. I've seen it so many times. It's just, people are so happy, so grateful, and it's good for their whole family. And they're much stronger, they're in a much better position, they can work, they can go out and have some freedom of choice about how they live their life. And it's just a different mindset to have your green card in that context. It's just been very gratifying, and my clients are so resilient to go through such a difficult process. All the credit in the world belongs to them.
That's very true. And that's also another part of our work that we always emphasize, that everything is client-driven and client-based, and we want to make sure that clients understand that they are in control and that we are simply there to hand them the resources, hand them the guides and the tips and the tools and everything that will get them to where they need to get. And that's what I think is a wonderful part of our work, is just that focus on the client and the fact that we don't want to charge them for services that we believe should be free, because they should be able to understand the complex systems of how Chicago's judicial system works, about how the healthcare systems and all of the different hospitals work and that sort of
Do you
thing.
help people navigate, for example, going to Cook County? Do you help them? What do you do?
Well, I don't do much of that, but I do know that a lot of our compañeras, especially the ones who have been on staff for multiple years, have got very savvy at figuring out where they need to go, how to get there in the easiest way, and also just the processes in terms of going to court and sort of getting those documents that they need, whether it's signed like at Daly Center or at Cook County and that sort of thing, and just making sure that they can get to places on time. And the way that they show that our clients how to navigate is just simply being like, okay, this is where we need to go, and sort of step by step taking them to where they need to be. And many times, usually after 1 or 2 visits, if the client needs to continue going to court, sometimes they feel that they have gotten the grasp of exactly where everything is in the courthouse, and so they may just decide that they no longer need us to help guide them, because they have found it in themselves to be able to do it on their own.
Aside from the immigration context, do you help people with the healthcare system? Is I know that when my mom was when she was dying, I'm a lawyer, and I used to have to shut my door every Monday and go through these various claims and bills and try and figure out what was what here. Do you help people with that kind of thing? What do you do?
We do. It's a very big, wide system. We have helped clients who couldn't understand what exactly their medical bills meant, whether it was because they didn't understand English or they just didn't understand.
Or because the bills are padded, so there's all kinds of things on there that you don't recognize.
Exactly. Yeah. And so many times our staff will either contact the billing department of the hospital, they'll go in person, and they'll be like, can we get sort of a thorough, more in-depth explanation of what exactly all these items are on the bill and that sort of thing. And one case in particular that I remember, one client was very overwhelmed with just how many things were listed on his bill, and he didn't understand how he was going to pay for all of it or why certain things were on there, when he was like, I don't know what this is. And so the compañera called the billing and asked, like, can we set up an appointment to see what exactly is going on? And after they met in person and talked, they managed to actually get the bill reduced, and then the billing department worked with the client to figure out payments, a payment system, so he could pay off his bill. And he was very grateful, because he was like, otherwise I would have spent thousands of dollars more than I needed to, and now I know what exactly I'm paying, how I'm going to pay it, and I understand what exactly is going on.
Plus, medical problems are a large cause of bankruptcies in this country, and so anybody who can help you with that is doing a tremendous service.
Exactly.
When a person is subject to domestic violence, or even just any kind of catastrophic occurrence in a family, they often need some psychological help. Do you refer people to different mental health agencies, or what do you do?
We do. And actually, a perk of our various partnerships with different organizations like that, we have a advocacy staff member from Sarah Zinn, which is a domestic violence organization. She works out of our office 2 days a week, and she sees clients that are dealing with either an abusive relationship or who have just recently gotten out of one and are seeking shelter, different other resources that they may need. But we do often refer our clients who may be facing domestic violence to counseling resources, to shelters and that sort of thing, but we have those resources on hand because of our various relationships in the community.
It sounds like you have a tremendously wide-reaching range of services. What is the background of the people who work there? What is your background?
Well, I just joined the staff back in June of last year because I had just graduated from Loyola. And
What's your degree in?
My degree was in anthropology, international studies, and Spanish. So it wasn't very social work oriented like a lot of the work that Taller de Jose does. But I was very interested in doing community-based work, and I thought that TIRE's mission, which is accompanying individuals to make sure that they get the resources and accessibility that they need to get everything they need for their problems and their issues going on. I thought that that was a very moving mission and just very moving work, because I thought it's community-based. It's meant for the community members to come to us, tell us what's going on, and for us to just step in where we need to be and help them get to where they need to go. And I thought it was very moving, and I didn't know why I would want to be anywhere else but here with the people that needed our help the most.
Well, I must say, I mean, it's a tremendous service that you do there. Do you, viewers, do you have any questions? Is there anything that we can help you with? So please feel free to call in. The number is 312-738-1060. If you have a question, we'll be more than glad to try and help answer it. So let me bring you up to date about a little bit of what's going on in immigration land. It is, as usual, disturbing. There are over 60,000 asylum seekers who have been harmed by the Remain in Mexico policy, and it's one of the most disastrous aspects of it is that it impairs people's ability to obtain legal counsel. A person who has an attorney is more than 4 times as likely to be granted asylum than one who does not have an attorney. So it's a really big problem, because only 4% of the people in the Remain to Mexico protocols have been able to get legal counsel. In addition, there have been more than 800 documented attacks on people subject to remain in Mexico. These include child kidnapping is a big problem. Kidnapping, extortion, torture, rape, and murder. 1 in 4 people subject to the Remain in Mexico in Tijuana and Mexicali have been threatened with physical violence. This is a stain on our country. And it is such a disturbing situation. These people are in makeshift encampments without adequate access to water, to food, to sanitation, to medical care, and this includes vulnerable populations like pregnant women, people with medical problems, individuals with disabilities. This is a disgrace. A person who needs asylum is seeking refuge because they believe they have a reasonable fear that they are going to be subject to severe harm. And they ought to be allowed to present their case, which is what was done before. So it's a disturbing situation. And actually, very recently, about a month ago, a district court judge, Dana Sabro, did issue an order granting a motion for a class-wide preliminary injunction to allow people to access attorneys. The judge found that depriving members of the class of access to attorneys would cause individuals to suffer irreparable harm in the absence of preliminary relief, and that the balance of equities tips in their favor. Here's what the judge said. Given the stakes of a non-refoulement interview, the return to a country in which one may face persecution and torture, and the interview's fact-intensive nature, it is undeniable that access to counsel is important. So this is only a district court preliminary injunction. We will see what happens. It will probably take a while for anything to happen, and it's a nightmare that's going on right now, and there's no reason for it. In the past, people were given their credible fear interviews and told when to appear for their immigration hearing. And if you want to keep track of people, they can do what's always been done, which is a person have an ankle bracelet, rather than be subject to disastrous harm. So it's a shameful period in American history. Continuing in that vein, the public charge rules are going to be taking effect in most states, but not in Illinois, on February 24th. So this is another basically anti-family set of values here. So long story short, if you have an immigration problem, the system has become much more complex to navigate. We are here to help you, And I urge you to call us, the Chicago Legal Clinic. This is our general intake number. We have people who speak Spanish on the intake line. So please feel free to call us, 773-731-1762. We're here Monday through Friday. The phones are open 9 to 5. We are here for you, and we will do our very best to help you. And why don't you repeat your address, your telephone number, and your hours again?
Our Taller de Jose's phone number is 773-523-8320, and you can find our offices at 2831 West 24th Boulevard, Chicago, Illinois. And our hours are Monday 9 to 5, Wednesday through Friday 9 to 5, and then Tuesday 11 to 7 p.m.
Thank you so much. On a personal note, I would like to invite all of our viewers to a program which my own synagogue, Congregation B'nai Shalom, is going to be having. It is March 20, it deals with asylum. It's an all-star team if you want to educate yourself. March 22nd, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. That is a Sunday, and Congregation B'nai Shalom is in Skokie, 4435 Oakton, which is Oakton and Kenneth. The program has Dr. Gary Slutsky, who is the founder of Cure Violence Global, and Guadalupe Cruz, who will report on the conditions on the ground in Honduras and some strategies for reducing violence through the use of violence interrupters. Then Siobhan Albiol, who's an attorney who has practiced asylum law for 25 years and is the director of the clinic at DePaul University, DePaul College of Law. We'll talk about what asylum is from a legal perspective, what the traditional procedure has been, and some recent changes in asylum law. After that, we will have Scott Pollack and Kendra Schuline. Scott Pollack has been an attorney practicing immigration law for 25 years, and he, along with Kendra, who is an associate at Hughes, Sokol, Piers, and Dime, handling immigration law, recently returned from a week where they offered pro bono counsel to people who are seeking asylum in Dilley, Texas. So they will tell you how difficult it is to actually represent a person because of the logistics of the situation, and they will give you a realistic understanding of what is happening now in representation of asylum seekers. Following Scott and Kendra's presentation will be Bernadine Cargi. Bernadine Cargi, my mentor, is a sister and an attorney who has practiced immigration law for decades in Chicago. She is very active in immigrant justice, and we'll talk about long-range strategies for immigrant justice. The concluding speaker will be Beth Lang, who is the chair of the Immigrant Justice Task Force at Jewish Reconstructionist Congregation, and she will talk about local opportunities for people to advocate and volunteer for immigrant justice. So I invite all of you to come. It's free, open to the public, and as I say, it is an all-star team of presenters. So thank you very much for being our viewers on this show. We will be here not on our usual third Wednesday out of the month, but next month, I think it is March 1st, to present another edition of Immigration Issues. Thank you for watching, and I hope that if we can be of any service to you, you will consult us or Taller de Jose, to which I give my wholehearted endorsement because I have seen what they do, and it's a wonderful service to a population that really needs the services and benefits greatly. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Tune in next time.